You are listening to the Women of the Arts podcast. We are your hosts, Amauri Green and
Christa Fletcher.
We will discuss a variety of topics from art, film, music, and much more,
as well as interviewing women artists on and off campus. Stay tuned to learn, discuss, and learn more about the artists right here on campus and beyond.
Hello, welcome to the Women of the Arts podcast. I want to thank you in advance for listening. So today we're going to be going over a few random topics just for our first official podcast. So Christa, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing pretty good. It's been a busy week. It's been a quick week too, though, so that's good.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Yes. So we're both media studies majors. So what is something that kind of drew you to this major, or drew you to film and media? What is something that kind of connects you to the field?
From a young age, I would say that I basically was obsessed with writing stories. And that kind of translated into screenwriting as I got older, because I realized that I like to watch movies but also wanted to write them. And I also think that a lot of I don't know, I feel like a lot of media studies students or film students usually start have a love for movies and films in childhood.
Yeah.
Creative writing stories or wanting to make little short little films.
Right.
So yeah, I think from a young age that was what I was obsessed with. And then also just doing little skits on my phone or my little camcorder I had at the time.
Right.
So yeah, that was kind of what kind of drew me to media, I guess, as a kid, and then media studies as an adult. What about you?
It's pretty much the same, it's just with film and television, it's just something that I've always been interested in, even from a very young kid, like you said, just interested in essentially the story first, and then I think the interest in how they construct the stories and how the filming and everything comes together. I think that came after my love of storytelling. So I like when things come together pretty well, and I think that just kind of drew me to just overall media. But yeah, it's essentially, like you said, just storytelling and screenwriting and everything was the first thing, and I think the cinematography and all that kind of followed after.
Yeah.
My major, we're both like media studies, it has kind of two different pathworks here at UNCG. So you can either go the screenwriting route, or you can go the production route, and some people do both. I'm kind of doing both, kind of. I just got more into production as I got into my more upperclassmen years. But yeah, I think there's so much that goes into media too. I think I kind of get a little bit restless when I just focus on one thing. So I think media offers a lot of different things that you can do and work in. So you can't really you can't get bored. It's something that it's so so full of different things that you'll never won't be entertained in this field, I think. So I think that's kind of why, just the entertainment aspect, and then it's just fun to me. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I definitely agree about you can kind of do a little of everything. I think our media studies program in particular is really good because you kind of have different, you can kind of do a little bit of everything, I guess, within the program. It's not one thing.
All right, so our president Noryan is here. Noryan, do you want to say something or introduce yourself really quick?
Hi, my name is Noryan. Yeah, I started Women of the Arts with someone else. I'm not the only founder of Women of the Arts. Hopefully we'll have her on the podcast soon. I'm hoping to reach out to her because she's doing a lot of great things. But yeah, I am a musician. I am a media studies major. I am involved in arts in all sorts of ways. That's my intro.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much. So did you want to kind of talk about what drew you to the media studies major, or to you said you do music as well? What is something that kind of drew you to those kinds of things?
So I started media studies because I was originally in music, and I eventually I just sort of wanted hey, I want to work in music and film, and then eventually ended up becoming film in general. But then now, if you ask me if I want to do movies, I'll be no, I want to do sports stuff. But movies But yeah, like I like movies, but like movies are what got me into the sports media aspect. Like a lot
Right.
of times sports are so dramatic. Like there's like an arc to every like game. It's like, oh, bad guys versus good guys, stuff like that. So I
Hmm.
just like seeing everything.
Yeah, like I was telling Krista earlier before you joined, like when it like comes to media studies, there's like so many different aspects. Like there's so many things you can really do like under this field. So I think that's what also drew me to the to media studies as well. Just there's so many different things you can do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I definitely agree. I think that that's like the positive part of it because it's kind of like even right now, like it's there's like different paths you can take, I guess, in media. And I think
Hmm.
like I guess like back in the day, I guess, it's very like you need to go one way or the other. But I feel like now it's kind of like social media and film and television are kind of like combined a little bit.
Yeah, right.
yeah,
So
like you definitely see a lot more of like social media is now an option if you want to work in media.
yeah. Like you can make a whole like short film on like YouTube or like TikTok or something and people would like engage with it, I guess. And you don't have to go about it, I guess, like the traditional, I guess, route.
Yeah, and I think it's like also becoming like easier to create media, like you guys said, like you can just use like your iPhone or something and just like make a film or just make like a music video or anything you want to do, you can just do so easily now, which I think is pretty cool, especially since like, we're all about to like graduate soon and there's just I think there's a lot more that we can do than we could do before. So yeah.
Yeah. And I also think that like being open to like, I guess, not knowing what's like the pathway, I guess, because sometimes it's like you want to know what's next, but I guess like the major is kind of like you don't really know fully what's next, I guess.
Hmm. Yeah, it's
Um,
like unpredictable.
Yeah, but I think that at first it's scary, but I think that it's helpful. Like you can kind of do a little bit of everything and kind of figure out what you really like, what you don't like. And I guess like tailor what do you want to do along the way, I guess.
Right. And something like some other stuff they don't tell you, like when you become a media studies major, like for us, like, as female presenting people, like we have to like think about that too, like when we go into the field, like how we're going to be perceived and like regardless of our pronouns or anything, like we're essentially, female to whoever like whoever looks at us, that's what we are. So it's like
Mhm.
that we're like a minority like automatically, and then we have like race too on top of that. And that kind of like affects like how we move as media people, as like creatives. And I think that's like going to be a challenge. I think they don't talk a lot about those challenges, like when you get into college. So
That's true. I feel like in the program they don't talk about it enough because it's kind of like, everyone expects to like, I guess, go on and, get a job and stuff, but like discrimination does definitely like play a part.
exist. Yeah.
Yeah. And like even like with representation, like you don't it's hard to like find people that you can kind of look up to. Um,
Hmm.
because lots of times women of color don't get opportunities as much. So like it's very few of us in this like field. So it's kind of like it's kind of hard, I guess, in a way to like
Right.
find people that look like you and then also that are able to get to like where you want to get to sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, this also leads into like my next question is like, is there anyone that you particularly like look up to, that's like female presenting or anyone really, I guess, in the film, television, or media industry that you personally look up to?
Nori, did you want to go? I can go. I can
Um,
go if you're not ready.
I mean, I don't know. Like immediately after I heard that question, I was like, Selma Hayek. She's the one,
Oh
like
yeah.
Yeah.
as a Mexican girl, like seeing her, like yeah, she's sort of like over sexualized in a lot of her stuff, but like she plays into
Hmm.
that, like she uses that to her advantage. Like she did that one film that was like super over sexualizing her, and then she went on to make Frida, which is like one of the best movies that I think she's ever made. Because it
Hmm.
shows like she's passionate about Mexico and all that stuff, and she still is, even though she's like married to a French guy. Like
Yeah.
she's like
Yeah.
out there. Like she's like, when you see her interviews, she's like, I'm Mexican, homegrown, and all that stuff. And I'm like, oh, Salma Hayek. And like seeing her when she got into Marvel, I was like, finally, I'm Mexican. because like Marvel was for so long just like male white dudes, and then they
Right.
started bringing it, and then the female characters were sort of brought in the male sort of like headlining film, and then now we got Black Widow and all this other stuff, and I think it's great.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, Selma Hayek, she's the one for
Mhm.
media studies, but like I have a whole bunch of other people for like other stuff, like music. I'd say like Haley Williams and stuff like that. She is like I'm a punk kid, so like she's like amazing when it comes to her writing. Um, and then my mom used to do art, so that's like, well, I'm looking at her and I'm like, I'm following your dreams, mom, stuff like that.
Amori, what are you?
Um, it's like when I think about this, I feel like I have like the same answer as a lot of, Black women, and it's like Issa Rae or Quinta Brunson, like those people, because they kind of like they're like self-made kind of, like especially Issa Rae. Like she made a like a web like what was it, like a web show? Like I forgot. I think it was do you remember the web show name? I forgot what it was called.
Was it the Chronicles of
Oh,
an
Awkward
Awkward
Black
Black
Girl.
Girl? Yeah.
Yeah, it was Awkward Black Girl. And she like did that, like she did all the production, like the acting, the hiring of the actors and everything. Like she did everything. And that was like the first thing that she did. And that got her Insecure. Like right after she did the web show, she did Insecure. And it's just like, even when she like wasn't getting like the views or getting the hype, she like still made content. And I feel
Mhm.
like that's kind of like it inspires me to like, still make content even if no one is gonna like see it or if no one cares about it, because like I really think that, I'm in it for like the satisfaction that it brings me, at the end of a project, or how I feel when I'm like creating something and just, working with others like in the community or whatever. So she's one of them. And Quinta Brunson also, just like what she's been doing like since BuzzFeed and everything, she went to BuzzFeed and then she had her show. So it's just like people like that. Just anyway. Oh, and then Ava DuVernay as well. She's great. And she also, I mean, she didn't even go to school for film. She was like a publicist or something before she got into film, and she just made her first film without really any filmmaking knowledge. So just people like that who, don't let anything really hold them back, whether they've been educated or not, whether they have, the social standing or not, or whether they have people behind them or not. So
Mhm.
yeah, people like that they really inspire me, and that's hopefully, I'll just continue to be persistent, and then I guess like my time will come, I guess, whenever that is. But yeah, those people.
I agree. I definitely agree with that list. For me, it would have to be Shonda Rhimes,
Oh
and
yeah.
because when I was younger, I like knew I wanted to do like writing, like television and stuff, and I
Hmm.
didn't really know like what like guess the title for that would be, and Shonda Rhimes was like the first person that I was like, oh, this is so cool. Like she's a black woman, and she also has like these television shows, and like she's a showrunner, but she's also a producer, and like she had her own like night on ABC, which was like
Thursdays.
Scandal, yeah,
Yeah.
Scandal, Grey's Anatomy, and How to Get Away with Murder. But now she's also
Yes.
doing like Bridgerton, and like she did like a huge deal with Netflix, and I was like, that is so cool. Like a black woman who's in this like leadership position, but also able to have like her hand in like the creative aspects. Um,
Hmm.
and also I like Mara Broca Kill. She is a television showrunner as well, and she did a lot of like black sitcoms in like the early 2000s and the
Okay.
90s. She did the show Girlfriends, and then
Okay. Yeah, I
yeah,
think I've heard of her.
yeah, and I really like her, and um her and Gina Prince, she did Love and Basketball. She wrote and directed that movie, and they were actually
Yeah.
really close friends. So I was like, that's
Hmm.
so like cool that they both came up around the same time and started writing on different television shows. So for me, those are
Right.
like the people that really inspired me, as well as Issa Rae, of course.
Yeah, I just did an essay on Gina Prince, because I'm in bars class and we're watching some of her films. And she also didn't have any film background. She was I think she went to I don't know what she went to school for, but she was an athlete or something like that. But
Hmm.
it's just like it's so inspiring when people like it's like really anyone can create things. And I think that's also really cool.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. Hmm.
Um,
Did you guys? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
oh, you can go. I'm sorry.
I was gonna ask, did you guys watch the Oscars or hear anything about the Oscars?
I did. I heard that like basically Woman King got snubbed. and
Yeah, they weren't even nominated.
at all, even though they did like all the like campaigning. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I just think it's sad. Like, there's not many. I don't think any woman of color has ever won like best screenplay, or I don't know if even won best director.
Yeah, I
Oh
think
yeah,
like
wait. Oh yeah, go.
for like certain films, like I know that black people have won awards, but they're usually like black men. Like
Yeah,
I know that for like Get Out, I think Jordan Peele won. Actually, no. I don't think there no black men have won best director. They've only been nominated. So no, I don't think any black people have won best director yet, unfortunately.
yeah.
No people of color really. I no, but I think this pat like in the Oscars, I forgot the names of the people who did Everywhere, Everything All at Once.
Oh
But
yeah,
so
Sandra
it
Oh got the Sandra
huh?
Oh got the Oscar for that.
yeah. She did.
Yeah. I don't
She
think
was
it wasn't Sandra Oh. It was what was her
Not
name?
Sandra Oh,
Michelle
what's
Michelle
Michelle
Yeoh.
Yeoh.
Michelle Yao,
Yeah,
yeah.
my brain, I was thinking about Sandra Oh. I was like Shonda Rhimes, Sandra Oh. Oh my god. Oh
Right.
my god.
No, honestly, I'm always thinking about Sandra Oh, but yeah, like yeah, it was Michelle Yao. But it's just
Yeah.
like I feel like it's it's easy to be like, oh, there's no, Hispanic people, there's no black people, there's no this, but I think there's always a minority winning something. It's just that it's not enough minorities, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah, it's not in the. It's a lot of them in like the acting categories. Even that is like
hmm
limited. Like usually like best supporting.
yeah,
Um, but like in the but like behind the, I feel like sometimes we like get a lot of like representations like on screen more than we do behind the camera.
right.
I think it's also important too, like to have like representation behind the scenes, like with crew and also like post production, like screenwriters, directors, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, one, I forgot the person who did the design, all the designs on Black Panther, the new one, she
yeah,
won the award for that.
yeah,
But it's
Ruth
just like,
Carter.
yeah, I think it's just it's all the Oscars are always going to be like they're always going to snub people, and it's like people are still going to watch and go. So it's like I don't know, like it's a little bit hopeless, but hopefully things like change,
Yeah,
honestly.
I
And
agree.
then also that like that war movie that kept getting the awards, it was like All Quiet on the Western Front. Like, can we stop giving war movies so many awards? Because like it was not giving. Like even the like whatever they were showing was not giving.
Yeah,
But
that and like biopics. Like I like some biopics, but I feel like we've gotten like 1,000
yeah,
biopics.
like
Like I feel like we need to like have a limit on the amount of biopics there are.
So but for those of you listening right now, so this podcast is from Women of the Arts, and we are, still looking for people to join, still recruiting people. So if you are interested in joining Women of the Arts, having, any kind of work published by us or shared by us so that you can get recognition on campus or anything like that, you can follow us at arts_UNCG, and there you'll find all our other socials and everything. But please join. We want more people to join, and we want to, grow so that more people can, have that sort of community where we celebrate women. So yeah.